The following production is part of the Play Some Video Games podcast network.
I know you, your past, your future.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this month's edition of the State of the Xbox Empire. Joining me this month is again my co-host in the Atlanta office, Mr. Donnie Reese.
The co-host with the mostest. What's up, Nate?
Oh, just trying to get by. I've been bit by spiders a lot lately, and I got another spider bite that I'm dealing with right now, so I'm taking medication. It's been knocking me out, and I'm still trying not to catch it. So yeah, it's so I don't know if you can see on the video, but there's a circle around there. That's how big it got to yesterday.
Ugh, it's gross.
So, yeah, it's
What kind of spider was it?
I have no clue. I haven't been able to find the spider. I've been bit.
So the spider is still loose.
It's still loose. It's somewhere.
Oh,
so I've got
in your bed.
I got I put it in call to a couple exterminators to get some information from them. I got some natural remedies. I guess they're not supposed to peppermint. And so I got some peppermint diffusers running around. But again, there's still spiders somewhere. Because
not everything that you can Google, Nate, is a good idea.
But at least at the end of the day, I like peppermint, the smell, so it's fine. If that's all that comes of this is my house smells like peppermint, I'm okay.
Somewhere there's a peppermint salesman who's just typing in this is the best thing my business has ever had. Everything hates peppermint.
That's right.
I've heard that before. Actually, we had mice or rats or gerbils or chipmunks or something. Some rodent was getting into the hood of my cars and stuff. And my wife came home one day from some medicine woman, some black art shop, where she came home with a dial of peppermint extract and was putting droplets all over her car. And when I was like, Melissa, this is not going to work. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. She said it worked. I don't know. We'll see.
It hasn't worked yet because I got bit again. So I've been bit 3 or 4 times so far. I don't know if it's the same spider or what, or I don't even know where it's happening, because it's not a consistent thing. There have been times where I was in my basement, then there were times where I wasn't in my basement, and I got bit. So and it's one of those things too where you can't see it when it bites you. You just notice it later. It's an after the fact type thing.
So I'm telling you, it's biting you in your sleep.
Probably. I don't know, but. Gonna have to get that figured out one of these days, or else I will probably end up being a Spider-Man at some point.
There's definitely, that's a definitive upside.
Yeah. But anyway, aside from that, I have been able to play a little bit of games. How about you?
Oh, dude, yes. I have been since I got back from the Super Bowl. I feel like that's all I have been doing. I haven't done really much of anything else but playing games. I've just been crushing games one right after the other.
Well, you've deserved some time on gaming, sir, because you, again, did a good job. I didn't notice any issues from my end, and hopefully there weren't any on yours for the Super Bowl. But again, congratulations on a job well done there. But for the gaming side, there have been a few games that have come out now in February. I think I know that you've blasted through at least one, if not 2 of them. So take it away. What have you been playing here since the last time we talked?
I did Life is Strange, episode 2 that dropped this month. Didn't like it as much as the first episode. I'll just say that and kind of leave it where it is. A lot of the things they set up in the first episode, they just scrapped in the second episode, which felt cheap and boring, but not even boring. Just kind of just weak. It's weak sauce. Mm-hmm. So I won't spoil anything there. It's just I think that's typically the way episodic games, right? Everybody the first episode's great. And then the second and the third episode kind of get down a little bit before they start building towards the end.
How many of them are there in this season for Life is Strange?
I don't think they've announced that.
Okay.
They just kind of keep saying what the next episode is. I assume there's 5, but I have no idea.
And as they come out, aren't they coming out on Game Pass as well?
They are launching into Game Pass. So if you were somebody like me that bought the game, pre-ordered early, I paid as $24.99. If you had Game Pass, you didn't have to buy any of that because I got maybe I think, a 60-day head start on anybody with Game Pass. But episode 2 launched directly into Game Pass, day and date. So I'm a little concerned that says a lot about these types of games, as we've kind of learned with Telltale and their marketability. Mm-hmm. You know, that has me a little concerned, but happy that more people have the option to play them. I still don't know anybody else that's playing them. So,
well, it's on my list, but all of them are. You know what I'm saying? Because I played a little bit of the first one, didn't go back to it, but no particular reason. But I do eventually want to get back to them, and they're all on Game Pass, right?
Yep. It's like they just set up a deal with Doltnod.
Okay. Well, that's cool. So, what else has been taking your time as of late?
Far Cry,
Ooh.
New Eden, or New Dawn, or whatever it's called. Boy, do I like these games. I don't know what it is with Far Cry 5, specifically Hope County, I think. I'm going to try my best to say that that's it. All right, so I played Far Cry 5 off of the recommendations of most of the folks here at PSVG. I had tried Far Cry 4, wasn't really digging it. To be honest with you, though, didn't really give it a whole lot of a chance. Like, I dropped in, played like the first opening thing, and I was like, I'm not really feeling this, turned it off. So I probably didn't. I could go back to it today and maybe like it. I didn't really give it a whole lot of chance, just whatever it was at that time. I think I was playing, what's that EA big open world game? I know you know it because we played it together. We were talking about it.
We're not talking Anthem, are we?
No. Like back in the day, like Far Cry 4, like towards the launch of the generation, the big RPG Skyrim-like game.
Oh, Dragon Age.
Dragon Age. Thank you. Like, for whatever reason, I could not think Divinity in my head. Like, that's the only word that's coming to mind. Yes, I think I was playing Dragon Age, and I think I just wasn't having Far Cry 4. But everybody told me to play Far Cry 5, and I fell in love with it. For whatever reason, that setting does it for me. It's the type of game that I would put on. I'd play a mission, play a second mission, a third mission, hit the next waypoint, and 8 hours later, I'm like, it's 4 a.m. Oh my God, what just happened? And the exact same thing happened to me when they dropped this DLC. Like, the exact same thing. I was playing Crackdown, and I messed with Anthem. I was like, all right, I'm going to turn on Far Cry. And I think I turned on at like 9, and I stopped playing like 3 a.m. And the next day I woke up, and I started playing at 10, and I stopped at like 6 p.m. And the next day I woke up at 10, and I stopped, and I beat the game. Yeah. I beat the game in a weekend. I was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I was in and out.
I saw you in the Discord like, hey, I'm starting this game. And then like the next thing I knew, it was the credits. I was like, what?
Roll credits. Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. My wife doesn't like it. You know, she called it murder game. Mm-hmm. She's like, are you done playing murder game yet? Like, she's just like, the violence was too much for her. And it was actually the first time that I've ever sat back and thought, like, I guess, yeah, to somebody that's not playing this, like, that's all you're seeing. I guess, yeah, it's a pretty violent game. But like, I don't know. When I'm playing it, like, I'm not thinking about it like that, you know, because it's just a lot of fun. Like, the mechanics are a lot of fun. The outposts are a lot of fun, like causing all kinds of, you know, because I like set booby traps, and then, like, you know, I snipe, you know, like any of the snipers, and I send my dog in, and then I just kind of like set it all off on one thing, and then I just run in guns blazing. It's kind of like this symphony of disaster and destruction, and then you can get helicopters and skydive and all that. So, yeah, but for whatever reason, just walking around in the setting. Like, I never use cars. I never fly. I like walking. It's because I think they call it, like, I believe the proper term is like immersive gameplay. Mm-hmm. As you're doing things are happening around you. And for me, it's very addictive because I'm walking through the forest, and then I hear somebody scream for help, and then I see a stash. One of the things that I really like about Far Cry, at least the 2 that I've played, is these puzzles. They have these really great puzzles. These puzzles that I wish a game like a Zelda, for example, would take on. Because Zelda's always had puzzles, right? But they are very much puzzles. They're like mazes and gears and turn things. Far Cry's puzzles are environmental. Mm-hmm. You've got to find the key to unlock the hatch, to get down to the door, to get through, to get to the safe warehouse. And it's all like this there's notes and things. I'm addicted to that stuff. I can't tell you, if I see one, I just beeline right for it. Just like shrines in Breath of the Wild. Like, the moment I see one, I have so much fun trying to figure them out. I never use a guide for any of them. I don't think they're that hard, but, you know, it's just they're just very captivating in a way that I've enjoyed the last two so much. I'm thinking I've thought about considering Primal. Now, I don't know, because I know a little bit about it just from the marketing and whatnot. I know it's all prehistoric, so I think I'm going to be like throwing rocks and sticks at saber-toothed tigers and stuff. I don't know if that's necessarily going to feel the same, if that's really kind of for me, but I've enjoyed the last two so much that I'm thinking about just trying some, maybe go back to 4, maybe giving 4 a try now that I like understand more about the game and how it works and everything. Maybe go back and try that again. Far Cry 5 is very streamlined too. I mean, not 5, but the new one, the Far Cry New Dawn. It's very streamlined. A lot of the menus and the weapon wheels and the crafting and everything from 5 is all like very streamlined. You barely spend any time on that. It's just kind of very almost linear. You know, it's open world. You can go anywhere you want, but you just kind of do your thing. You're not really mixed up in a whole lot of that. There's like some unlocking back at your fort, like some base upgrades, but it's like basic unlocks. Like, you know, you take down the towers and you build up, you know, what do they call it? Ethanol. That's the thing. That's your in-game currency. You build up ethanol, and then you spend it back at the base to unlock, you know, fast travel and crafting and bombs and helicopters and whatever, however you want to play. You kind of unlock it that way. Yeah. And it's gorgeous in 4K, Nathan. Like it's so pretty. It's so pretty. Devin constantly makes fun of me about this game because he's like, it just looks like outside. And I'm like, no, and it's beautiful to experience outside in a well air conditioned room, like my. But you know, so the story of the last one, it's not spoilers because the Game Awards already spoiled it. The ending of the last one, a nuke goes off, right? And the bomb is exploded and everybody hunkers down. And this one is set 20 years later. You come out of the ground and the world has experienced this nuclear bomb overgrowth. It's like, apparently nukes like contain miracle grow because everything has bloomed into like this weird neon I don't even know. Like just everything is like pink and purple and the animals have weird colors. You fight like bears with like pink hair and things like that. It's very nuts.
Pink hair.
Yeah, it's very like weird. But the water has this very vibrant, bright baby blue color to it, and everything is lots of foliage and the god rays that come through the treetops. I mean, it is a pretty game. So yeah, I think I'll play any Far Cry game that comes out, like for future note. Like I'll just stop and like you can just bet that I'm playing it nonstop until I beat the end because I just don't want to turn it off.
Did you get the season pass for 5?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We did.
You have Far Cry 3 then that you can play now too.
And I tried it. It's rough. It's rough to see like the visual contrast. Even like their remaster is what they called it. Is harsh. It's not like modern. It looks like an old game, but like really, really bright. It's like really brightened up. I just wasn't digging it. I also was having a lot of technical issues, and I remember I was following the patches for a while because Kevin has always told me to go back and play 3, and he's the one that bought the season pass. We're game share partners, and I was having a lot of technical issues. Like all the lighting for whatever was flickering. And I think it was like the 4K, so I was like turning on and off 4K, but like at one point you couldn't turn it off, so like all the oceans kept flickering and like all the light kept flickering. So I was waiting for patches. Maybe I'll try that because I haven't tried it since like it came out. I was having all these issues. I turned it off and I never went back to it. But it also didn't. I also wasn't feeling like. I mean, it felt old. I guess that's just the best way of saying it. And I hate for anybody because I know a lot of people love that game. So I hate if I offend anybody. Just it felt old. It didn't feel like Far Cry 5, and not that it should. I get that, but like driving was hard. Yeah. Like I got in the car and I was like, oh, I don't want to do this. You know, like it's just like things like that. I was like, I don't know if I can go back to this.
I've never played any of the Far Cry's to date, but one of these days I'll actually start one of them because I have 5, and I have Primal, and I think I have a couple others, but I've never actually played one just yet. So maybe one of these days I'll give it a shot.
You know, it's interesting. A lot of the review commentary, or just a lot of the commentary in general, is very interesting to me because, you know, a lot of people didn't like 5. Like that was a thing when it came out. Is nobody liked 5 because of like the political overtones and everything, which I loved actually. The characters and the writing was probably my favorite thing about Far Cry 5. New Dawn is not nearly as good in that regard. The story is kind of whatever. Like I actually didn't even really like the story until you meet Joseph. Spoilers, he's in the game. Like, he's still there. So, you know, up until that point, I didn't care. But you have so much fun playing the game, it doesn't matter. You know, like, I have so much fun playing the game, it doesn't even matter. But it's interesting that New Dawn comes out. And now you hear, I have been hearing a lot of people talk about how much they love Far Cry 5. And I'm like, wait a minute, where were all of you when I liked Far Cry 5? And like, I couldn't find anybody that liked Far Cry 5. It's I don't know. It's one of those things that I've noticed. It's like always like ebb and flow. You know, it's always an ebb and flow. We like something this week and we hate it next week and we like it again. You know, it's just a thing.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you play the new Metro game or any of the older ones? Have you
played the old ones. Played Last Light. Yep.
So is this new one that just came out, Exodus, is that on your radar?
Yes, only because it looks so good.
Okay.
It really, really visually is captivating. The E3 demo, I was like, "Whoa, that looks really good." That's so much better looking than the Metro games that I played. I played Last Light when they came to PlayStation Plus, I want to say. They're not my favorite games, which is why I'm not on a rush to get them. For anybody that's not aware, they're very like crafty. Mm-hmm. You craft a lot of things, and there's like ammo crafting and ammo scarcity and things like that typically I don't do when I get to shooters. Like, I don't like being bothered. Mm-hmm. It's kind of my thing, and I don't like being bothered. I don't like being taken off my track for things like that. So there's a lot of that in there. So it's kind of more of a survival shooter if I was to. It's been a couple years, so maybe that's not the best description, but the way that I remember it, I never finished it, by the way. I didn't like beat it completely. Played a good bit. I think I played it for like a good week, and it's just not really my shooter. You know, it's not. If you're looking at it and you watch the demo and you're watching them run around and jump off, you know, ships in this beautiful world shooting things, it's not Call of Duty. It's not Battlefield. It's very different.
Okay. So the new one came out, and it's interesting of the recently reviewed games, like, you know, Crackdown and Anthem and all these other high profile games. It's the highest of the Metacritic. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but I do want to talk about Far Cry 3 a little bit.
Okay.
Did you play Far Cry 3 yet?
Only that first hour.
Okay.
When they did the remaster and I was having all those technical issues.
Okay. So I've played probably a couple hours so far, and that's just me also being bombarded with wanting to play Apex Legends mostly.
Hang on a second. I'm sorry. Did you say Crackdown 3?
Crackdown 3.
I thought you said Far Cry 3. Can we rewind the tape?
Someone rewind the tape. See what I said. Sorry. I meant Crackdown 3.
No, I'm sorry. Crackdown 3. So let's go back. Crackdown 3. Mm-hmm. I've played a lot of Crackdown 3. I've probably played 8 to 10 hours of Crackdown 3 since it's come out.
Okay, because I thought you'd played more, but
I'm sorry. I heard Far Cry 3. Now I'm questioning whether I heard the right thing or if you said Far Cry 3.
We'll go back and see what happened here. We'll check Donnie's hearing this way, and then he'll have to go see an audiologist or whatever they call him if it's true. Anyway, so with Far Cry 3, sorry, that time we did say Far Cry 3.
See, I think you did. I think that's what happened. I think you said Far Cry 3.
With Crackdown 3 just being released into Game Pass, I haven't played the multiplayer stuff at all. I've heard that that's been pretty bad, but I have had a lot of fun what I have played with the single player mode because it's essentially more of what I remember of Crackdown being. It's not the graphical powerhouse that you would want from like an Xbox One X or something like that. Definitely just a fun romp to play. Like, you can go in there for a few minutes and you go and get 30 minutes to play a game. You can get a few things done in that game, pop back out, go back in. And the fact that it launched into Game Pass, and it's so like, it's got a really entertaining introduction, you know, with Terry Crews doing his thing. Yeah. And today, or not today, maybe yesterday, they just released a free bonus content pack that you can have some more stuff. So tell me, with Crackdown 3, what's your experience been so far? Like, obviously you've played 8 hours. You've played more than me. But what's your take on Crackdown 3?
I think I've unlocked about half the city, and a lot of people have talked about the visuals. I think it's really nice. I understand what they're talking about. It's not it doesn't have like widespread foliage or anything like that. But the picture is very crisp. It's very clear. Has a comic book style, and it's really nice. I like it. The neon's very bright. So just visually, I think it's pretty superb. I really like Crackdown 3. I think it's just Infamous 2. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I'd put on the box art. Prettier Infamous 2. is basically what Crackdown 3 is. They're so similar. And I guess for better and for worse, I would kind of stand by that statement because the superpower hero game, right? The superhero game of all these powers and abilities, and you're jumping off buildings and you're flying and you're doing all these things is so fun. It's a really good formula that's been tried and true in video games. People like that stuff, right? Which I do love. Infamous and Batman and all these games. Crackdown, and played Crackdown 1 for the first, for the first time on Xbox One X when the 4K version came out. Played that, and I played that old game. I played that for an entire day. Probably dropped 5 hours into it in one day because it's addictive. It's fun. You go and you liberate a station, you climb a tower, you jump off a building, you raid some cars, you blow up a garage. Like these are little fun little open world things to do. The downside, being critical, the downside is that the open world feels like Infamous 2. It's like a very old way of doing it. It feels like Grand Theft Auto 3. Like there are cars driving around, there are people walking, but none of them are doing anything. Like they're just kind of like on rails. Like they're barely talking. There's nothing. There's no interactiveness. Like there's nothing going on.
It's not an immersive world.
Yeah, it's just kind of empty, which is fine. It's a sandbox. Like all you're doing is jumping around, blowing up stuff. So I didn't mind it. It doesn't bother me, but I could understand, in 2019, having an expectation for more, especially with this game being so long in development. You're kind of, like for me, I kind of booted it up and, didn't separated from how much fun I was having with the game. There's a part of me that's like, what took them so long? You're playing the campaign. You're like, what? Really? You just kind of, I don't know. Like I guess the expectation for more, I think is valid because we've been hearing about this game for so long. We've seen it for so long. For it to come out and just feel, like GTA 3 with some power ups and some boosters, and it's just like, wow, this game must have really gone through some development, struggles if this is the thing. But that said, that doesn't rob me from how much fun I'm having with the game. I'm having a lot of fun with the game. The mechanics are good. I've heard a lot of people talk about control issues, like camera issues. I can't say that I've experienced that. Like I said, it feels like Infamous. Like I feel like I'm playing almost like an exact same game mechanically. Like it really, any struggles that I had with that game, maybe I've just gotten used to it because to me, I'm not having, really any issues. I really love the press towers, probably my favorite parts of the game, climbing those, figuring out how to puzzle and platform. You can't fall. You go all the way back down. You got to start all over again. Those are really good. That's probably some of the most rewarding moments I've had with the game so far, because there seems to be a little bit more challenge there versus blow everything up. Which is there's a lot to be said for just blowing everything up. That's fun. I like that stuff too. So don't get me wrong. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, I'm really enjoying the game. I can't believe it launched in. I mean, I guess I can believe it launched in Game Pass. But I mean, it feels weird that like this brand new game came out and then it's just Game Pass. I didn't have to pre-order it and I didn't have to check deals and which one I was saving $10, $12. Just there. Just download it. Game Pass. I mean, we love Game Pass, and it's another really great addition to Game Pass. So
yeah. So again, my thoughts are kind of the similar as yours because I've had fun with it more than I thought I would based on the reviews that I was hearing going into it. But like I said, it's if you like the original Crackdown, it's like that.
Yeah.
Another thing that I've been playing, by the way, I want to talk about this because last time we talked, Apex Legends wasn't out yet. And it has consumed all of my gaming time. So this came out of nowhere. We didn't hear about it until like a day or two before it launched. And then it's reached an incredible amount of players. I think it was 10 or 20 million now.
25.
25
last
million.
I saw that they did 25 million, I believe, like their first week.
Okay. So they've done a good job launching this game. Everybody's talking about it and playing it online right now, and that includes me because I've probably put like 30 or something hours into it. Free-to-play game for those of you who don't know, so you can download it and just play it. Which this game launches, and it's done. Like they don't have to do any sort of here's a beta or a public preview. We're gonna put this out there and make changes as we go. They launch it, and for all intents and purposes, you can just play it the way it is, and it's done. It's polished. It's using the Titanfall 2 system. It's really well done, and I'm totally surprised by it. And it's taking all my time away from Kingdom Hearts and Anthem and all these other great games that are out right now. But if you wanted to play, just hit me up over on Xbox, because that's probably where I'm going to be playing.
To clarify, because not that I think anybody that listens to our show doesn't already know this, but it is a free-to-play squad-based battle royale game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, you've played one match, is that correct?
I played a couple matches. My son absolutely loves this game. It has completely stolen him away from Fortnite, to the point where we've downloaded it on PlayStation so he can play on a different machine. Because while I'm playing Far Cry, he's like, Dad, come on. I need to play Apex. And I'm like, no. So he is all about, he and his friends, like it's got to them, through YouTube or friends or talk. I don't know how they get into this stuff, but it's gotten to my son and he loves it. He has no idea how to do the squad, so I feel bad for everybody that gets him on their team, because he just runs off. He's treating it like Fortnite. He just runs off and starts shooting people. But he really, really likes it. He loves the visual style. It's funny. Funny anecdote was, he started playing and he goes, Dad, this isn't like old, like PUBG. Because old, because he thinks PUBG is like retro-y. He thinks it looks old. But so he likes the look and he likes the feel. Running around feels fluid. And I've played a few matches and I would agree, it is very nice and polished. It's just I typically don't do much battle royale. The most I've done is probably Fortnite, and even then it's maybe 20, 25 hours. It's not something I do a lot of. And squads. Never have a chance to play with squads. We had to fight like hell to get a team for Anthem together. Like, I was messaging people for days, like, anybody want to play with me? Anybody at all? Calling, taking bids. So I haven't played. I can't say that I've had the experience that you guys have had with that. But to speculate, I wanted to ask you a question.
Yes.
Because here at Xbox Empire, we should really be called the Game Pass podcast. How do you think about a game like Apex coming to Game Pass, where every month when you subscribe, you get like a small pack of coins or whatever they sell? Like you get a battle pass a month or something if you get it into Game Pass.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense, right? Pretty good investment for something like that to happen. But with it launching free to play at this point, you wouldn't necessarily have to do that to put it into Game Pass. But you could always say, like, if you are a Game Pass subscriber, here's a little,
you get like
DLC
a skin,
right?
You get this gun this month, or every month, like let's say 4 times a year they give you the battle pass, and every other month they give you a skin or a gun or something like that, but you get it without having to pay for it. So it just kind of becomes a part of your subscription.
I would totally.
I've been thinking about that. I think it's interesting that they haven't done something like that with PUBG already. But maybe PUBG isn't like, because I don't know, but I believe I've heard that like their character prices and things like that and skins are like really expensive, like $30, $40,
$30 or something like that to get the Harley Quinn and Joker from Suicide Squad from like a 3-year-old movie, and nobody's talking about that anymore.
Yikes. Yeah. But something like Apex, where they have characters, right? So like 1 month you get a character, the next month you get a battle pass, the next month you get a gun. Maybe it's like a good gun, and it's all part of Game Pass. That's pretty good.
Well, I wouldn't do the guns. The characters unlocks okay, as long as everybody else has the opportunity to unlock them in game without Game Pass. But I wouldn't do guns, because then you get into that pay to win type territory, and I just want to avoid that. So right now they don't do guns at all in loot boxes. You have them all just scattered around the map. The only thing that you can collect or get are skins for your character and skins for the weapons that you have.
Okay.
So if they just launch out skins that are exclusive, that's fine. EA Access members, if you launched it, they've got an exclusive little badge for their character, and you got 100 little gold coins, so you could unlock a character right away, or you could buy 10 loot boxes at that rate. So EA Access members did get a little perk for this, and so I could see something similar with Xbox Game Pass or Xbox Live even, saying, hey, this month, instead of a game, we're giving you DLC, and we're giving you this. I think people would be okay with that for the most part, too. That'd be kind of cool.
To be honest, this kind of comes from me playing Fortnite, because I've often wondered why Fortnite doesn't... They have so many people that buy these passes, and maybe that's why. But I'm like, why doesn't Fortnite just offer a sub? Like, hey, give us $50 a year and you just get all the stuff, or something like that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Kind of for the way that their model of game works.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But it would be an interesting concept, and I'm sure somebody will try it eventually. Leave it to EA to kind of think about that kind of stuff, Speaking of EA, and since we've already been talking about Apex, so Donnie, we did get to play a little game together with two of our friends, and a little game called Anthem. Flying around. I was like Iron Man. You were like the Hulkbuster, and we were like doing stuff.
So good.
So I've had a lot of fun with that game so far, and I'm again not very far in. I don't even think I'm level 10 yet. Probably like level 8. This game is gorgeous. I don't even know how to describe how amazing this game is. I am playing on a 4K HDR TV on my 1X, obviously. I think you are too, Donnie.
Yep.
And when I've played this game, it's just you're flying around, you go around a mountain, and then all of a sudden you see this beautiful sky and the sun in the sky, and it's so pretty. Like, this game is really pretty, and when you do your different super moves and you do stuff like the storm brings down lightning strikes and stuff, there's the color and everything that pops just is really, really cool. What's your thoughts been so far on Anthem?
I love Anthem. That's my thought. Everybody that's visited our Discord, they know this. Like, I don't know why. I was talking to Josh about this last night. We were playing. We took down a few Titans.
Oh, really?
Which was really fun. I like that a lot.
Was it just you two doing it?
Yeah, just us. Like, I couldn't find anybody, so me and Josh hopped on and we just played around for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half.
Just you two took down a Titan. No other random people out there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think it was just us. And I'll talk about my strategy in a minute. But I told him this last night. I feel like maybe I need to say this when I share opinions about Anthem. I did not play Destiny. I'm not a Destiny player. Mm-hmm. I feel like there's like a bunch of, obviously we're going to talk about this here in a minute, but there's a lot of thoughts out there about Anthem and what its value is. I feel like there's a lot of people that played Destiny for 4 years that have opinions and expectations on Anthem, and I don't. And I think that maybe has, some sort of bias or skew on my part, because I don't even know what to expect. I came into this game with zero expectations. I have EA access. Kevin, my game sharing partner, bought it, so I didn't even pay for it. So I have zero expectations, and all I wanted to do was blow up stuff. Mm-hmm. I've been tracking this game for a long time with the Discord crew, and my hope was this is a chance for me to get in on the ground floor of a game like Destiny without feeling like I'm completely out of the language and out of the lingo and left behind because everybody's power levels are 80,000 and I'm 300 and all this stuff, without having to grind for 3 years to catch up to everybody. Like, Destiny just doesn't really click with me. Not really a sci-fi guy, so all the aliens and stuff I always found hard to keep up with. And nothing against the game. The game's beautiful. I bought Destiny 2 and played it for a little bit, played for about a week. It's fun. Just don't squad up much. I don't play online with friends much. And it was hard understanding how a game like that works for me. I just had troubles getting indoctrinated into its world. Boot up Anthem, and I already I know a lot of things have been said about the missions, I guess, being repetitive or the same. I think I kind of like that because I'm having so much fun playing as the Colossus that it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter to the point where I've played the same mission. Not missions that are like each other. The exact same mission multiple times. Don't even care. Don't care at all. That's not why I'm playing the game, if you will. I'm not playing the game to get some profound story, and I'm not playing the game to, constantly be experiencing something I've never seen before. I'm playing the game because the Colossus is dope. Mm-hmm. Oh, God, the Hulkbuster is amazing. I've unlocked another javelin. I keep wanting to call them mechs or titans or something. I've unlocked another javelin. Haven't even used it. Don't care. Don't want to. I'm not there yet. Dude, the Hulkbuster's dope. I jump off, our little landing zone when you get out into the free world, and you land on the ground, and all the ground crumbles around you. And it's just like, swoom. This is a beautiful sound effect. And my ultimate is this huge rocket. Last night we were fighting the Titan, and I'm unloading. I've got a mortar, and I've got this fire missile that drops a line of fire down, and I've got this awesome hammer down punch, and Josh is throwing everything he's got at it, and the Titan's down to last quarter health, and I'm like, all right, Josh, stand back. And I click that thing on, and it just, the entire screen starts lighting up with explosions. And you hear this huge, like, pow, boom, boom. And I hear Josh on my headphones on the other side go, whoa. That's what because it's like, man, playing as a Colossus is the whoa factor. People are like, whoa. And I love it. He feels heavy. Mm-hmm. And he just feels like he packs a punch. There's going to be a lot. I'm sorry?
He takes longer to load in, too.
He does take longer to load in. We'll talk about the load times, but the actual playing it is just flying around in this beautiful world. Things popping up, to do as you fly through, like you keep finding things. And I'm hoping there will be more things to do, eventually. I'm not trying to downplay that, but the sheer gameplay, the playing of the game is a blast. When we were playing with Dev and Callow, like we were having so much fun. Dev has been making fun of my tactics of just jumping right into the middle of this thing, because that's all I do. And I just fly over the enemies and come down with my melee smash and just start uncorking missiles and bombs all around me. And Devin was like, I'm just going to float out here on the side where nobody can hit me, and I'm just going to pick off the people to the left and right of you as you like spin around and just start shooting everything. Whatever reason, man, it's clicking with me. I really, really dig it a lot. Like the gameplay of it's fun. The downsides, the loading times are awful. They're atrocious. They've got to get fixed. They've got to fix it. I don't know why they are the way they are. I was talking about this last night with Josh. It doesn't make sense to me. I know games are hard, but we have open world games like Forza and shared open world games where things like this are not even a quarter of the issue. My game has taken longer to load than everybody I've played with, and I don't know why. Devin postulates that's because I'm on Wi-Fi, but I have good Wi-Fi, and I'm 10 feet away from the pod that I'm on. Last night, I even switched it to my 5 gigahertz band, and I had the exact same, like there was zero improvement. The exact same time. I was 10, 15 seconds behind everybody else, which is a huge problem because I drop into the world, and everybody else has already flown to the mission. And what happens? You've got to catch up to your party. Here's a load screen. And they drop into the world again, and they're 15 seconds ahead again. Here's a load screen, and you just get caught in this loop because you can't catch up. And I don't know why that mechanic is there, because when you play Free World, it's not. Me and Josh dropped in Free World, and we could go to the opposite ends of the map, and we would never have that happen. But why do you have to do that in missions? I don't get. I understand. I think it's because they don't want you to treat it like free play because you're playing with random people.
Right.
But maybe if you're playing privately, maybe turn that off. Because that's what I have been doing. When I don't have friends to play with, I just set it to private and I play by myself. And I'm thankfully having a lot of fun with that too. And there's lore, and you can walk around the fort and whatnot. I'm not really doing any of that. It's not really all that intriguing. Like I watched some cutscenes, it's kind of cool, but I mean, I wasn't digging it. I think Destiny and that
and use your Hulkbuster again.
That's it, man. I just want to get back in the suit and go. I'm like, dude, shut up. I have things to do. Like, just give me the mission and let me continue on. And I think, and maybe we can segue from here. I think that's where a lot of people are upset because this is a BioWare game, and they want, some Mass Effect story, and that's fair. You're absolutely fair to think that. But I've often said this. And I think for this example, it rings really true. I think a lot of times we get really too close to like developers and the types of games that they make and who they are as people, and because it builds expectations like this, especially like us, like the core fans. It's happy. Like we should celebrate, studios and things like that. I get it. I'm not saying not to, but like I think this is a byproduct. This is a deterrent to that, because you love BioWare and you love Mass Effect, and even you're like, Andromeda got better and I liked it, and then you play something like this, you're like, this isn't BioWare at all. They're allowed to not be BioWare. Like they're allowed to do something else. Studios do that. Like I'm waiting for Naughty Dog to make a Crash Bandicoot game again, and people like lose their minds. It's like, people leave, they come and go, they change. Like I'm sure the people that made Mass Effect 1, I'm sure half of them aren't there anymore. Like it's just, I think it's a weird, odd thing that we get, because I've seen a lot of people are upset with the story and the lore and the world building right now. But I don't know. I don't really care about that. That's not the point. The point is to get back into the suit and go blow up some stuff, because it is a lot of fun. It is more fun to do with friends, and it's beautiful. And man, you're right. The Iron Man-ish of the world makes you really want an Iron Man game, because like they've got it. They got it. Like we said so many nice things about Spider-Man simply because the swinging felt right. The flying feels right. They've got it. They nailed it. Now go make an Iron Man game. Like, you've got it. You did it.
Or give us, like you said, give us an Iron Man DLC.
If they had a rare item, I'd pay them $30 for. I would do that. Take the PUBG approach. If they're like Iron Man suit today, $30 today only, I'd do it.
Yeah,
I would. I'd be like, yeah, okay.
So I've also, like we said earlier, been enjoying my time. I've played most of it with you actually in our group the other night. I did play a little bit of my EA Access trial. I picked up my pre-order the other day. I was going to just play the EA Access trial while I decided whether or not I was going to keep the game. And while I was playing with you guys, I decided I was going to keep it. So I opened up my game and opened up my Legendary, edition Legion of Dawn content, which is pretty cool, by the way. And I feel like this game is really good. I like it. It doesn't have to be a masterpiece on every level. And like you said, too, there are issues with like the loading screen and things like that. Yeah. But what we've seen recently, as we've talked about a few of these recent release games here in February, and there has been, a critical reception that people are not enjoying. So, I just want to talk a little bit about that. What makes a game good, quote unquote, and the players versus the critics? Is there one whose opinion is more valid than another? Just want to see, how that kind of shakes out, how we discuss it here. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. So we have all these games that have come out recently. Metro, I think, is the highest Metacritic game of the set. And there's also been Jump Force that came out that kind of fell flat a little bit too. But these are all games that are kind of for different genre of audiences, different types of audiences. What do you think about what makes a game good?
That's a really good question. And I feel like we're going to say this a lot here in this little topic of conversation, is that it's going to be different for everybody. And that therein lies kind of the nature of the issue. Is that for a lot of people, this is going to be so personal. There's no clear accepted way to rate and share a rating for a game that is going to find, I think, like large consensus outside of a game that is largely so good that everybody kind of agrees, right? And in the moment you get any sort of critique, you're gonna generate opinions on. Mm-hmm. With the case of EA, you can already see that there's a lot of things being said about them because they're EA. They're still fighting, and that's unfair. The idea behind a review is that you're reviewing a product in the time and in the setting in which it is. It's no different than like a movie or art or music. You're providing an opinion, especially if you're paid professional, you're providing a professional critique of something like in its time. It was something that I remember, I brought this up a few times in art appreciation class. It was something my teacher was very strong on. Like you can't appreciate art outside of the time in which it was created. You have to understand that to understand why it's here. Mm-hmm. You have to understand to understand the Mona Lisa is to put your feet in that era, in that time, and understand what was going on, what may have led to the creation of this painting. Not just, it's a picture of a girl. I've seen a lot of pictures better, like that type of stuff. And I think the same rings true for everything. And with EA, they're having a hard time because of Battlefront 2 and loot boxes and all that. Like there's still reverberations to that. But back to the point of what makes a good game, it's so different because how could you even answer that question? I think a good game is one that looks good and plays well. It doesn't even necessarily have to tell a story. Tetris 99 didn't tell a story. That's a great game. Mm-hmm. That game is a lot of fun.
Apex doesn't have a story.
Yeah. So I think I do think looks. I know people talk about graphics comparisons and things like that. I have to remind folks that video games are in fact video. Video is important. Mm-hmm. We move animated pictures on a screen. That's from the very get-go, from the origin of video games. That's what video games was. And there's a reason that there's always been a power rush and a push for 8-bit, 16-bit, 13-bit, 64. There's a reason that keeps growing because people want to see really good looking games. And it doesn't mean you have to be photorealistic. You can have a beautiful game that looks old, Shovel Knight looks great. Like you can do things like that, but visuals are important, style is important, the video part is important, and the gameplay is important. It's got to be smooth, it's got to run well. So I think those two things are probably most important, but then there's all kinds of other things that can get involved. Like you can make, concessions for things on that end if the story is so amazing you have to experience it, or if the music is so beautiful, like you have to experience it. Like that's one of the things with Agree, the game that came out on Nintendo Switch late last year, is the music and the art are so beautiful in that game. It's like you're controlling a painting. It doesn't even matter that the platforming is, I would say basic. It's not that it's bad. It's just basic platforming. It's not something you've never done before. But the art and music are so good that I would recommend that you go check it out, because you probably never seen anything like it. So I don't know, Nathan. What do you think makes a good game?
For me, so it goes back to what my definition of a game is. It's like something that you can find enjoyment in, that is entertaining and fun, and being a video medium, obviously the things that take into account are, like you mentioned, the playability, the way it looks, the way it sounds, the way it feels. There's like a special secret sauce that when a developer makes a game, they put a little bit of loop here for a reward system, a little bit of a story pop here, a little bit of a musical pop there when you have action kind of kick in and really drive those, that motivation on the audio side, and pair that with an engaging control system that makes sense, that you don't even have to think about when you're playing the buttons. You naturally move your fingers in the directions that it needs to go. Those are the type of things, when it becomes intuitive like that, that makes it fun to me, because I don't have to think about how to play it while I play it. There are some games that can get too complex. They have systems upon systems upon systems where you have to study before you play them. To me, that's not necessarily fun. To some people, they love that. That's depth, that's immersion. So it's definitely subjective what fun is to anybody. Some people find taking tests fun, right? I don't necessarily find that fun.
Sure.
So it's, to me, what makes a good game is just a game that you can sit down and play and it works, and there's no real standout issues, and we can go in, Donnie, and we can play a game, just link up, understand what's going on, and take our little mechs and blow people up. Something that the least amount of steps to get from A to B, to do that, for me to have that fun, that makes a good game. So it's kind of what I think, at least on that. But on the other side, is their opinion more valid than another when it comes to a critic or when it comes to the everyday gamer? Do you think that because a critic is, paid, quote unquote, to review a game, maybe they are, maybe they aren't, that they somehow have a better understanding of the medium? Or people who play games like us that have played them for all of our life, we're all technically masters at the craft because we've all put over 1,000 hours into it. So whose opinion is more valid?
I'm going to start at the end and work my way back. I believe gaming journalism is dead, if not dying. And I think that's kind of the crutch of this argument, in the fact that there are gaming professional journalist outlets that cover video games that are struggling to continue to hold on to their influence and their importance into a world where everybody can make a video and have it up in a matter of seconds. Mm-hmm. And there are individuals with larger audiences than entire outlets, and you don't need to have a history of gaming or a certain type of resume to be considered a quality voice. Like, maybe you were the best Tetris player in the world. Your opinion means more about Tetris, but maybe your opinion doesn't mean anything about other games. And this isn't just a gaming issue. This is a journalism issue. This is a news issue. This is a media issue. In today's world, with social media and YouTube and Twitch, you can find opinions in myriad of locations, millions of different locations. So when you have so many people talking, trying to decipher whose voice matters most is impossible. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the thing. And I think what we're seeing here is we're seeing gamers take over being the source of information, the voice of gaming. And when a professional outlet provides a review like Philip Mewson's, who plagiarized, somebody else's review, that like shocks, kind of the system. And then when you come and follow that back up with a review, let's say you review a game like Crackdown and you give it a 5, right? You're going to kind of jolt an audience. Well, one, you're going to jolt an audience that just loves Xbox. There is a group of people out here that just want to say great things about Crackdown because they love Xbox and love Crackdown, and that's fine. That's the thing about all of this, that it's all fine. Everybody has their own right to do it. There's all this talk about, I'm not sure if you saw it, but like the tribalism tweets from like Unlocked and Ryan and all that, where he's talking about everybody's just kind of like standing up for a banner and they need to stop. And I think he's largely right, but not really. I mean, they can do that if they want. There are fans of just brands and they're going to prop up those products. It's no different than when Apple releases a new iPhone and a billion blogs write about how amazing Apple is. That's the same thing. And I think that's the issue. The issue is that we have so many people talking. So many people sharing an opinion, so many people wanting to be heard, that you're bound to run into these issues where different groups of people disagree, and those disagreements are going to be heard more than I think the outcries of positive. That's the kind of, I guess, the ultimate that comes back is it's the negative that people talk about, because the positive is just positive. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to write a tweet that says, I like game? I like Crackdown 3. Sure, you write that tweet and, nobody's going to see it. Or you're going to write the tweet, Crackdown 3 is an archaic example of games, and then people are going to start talking to you, which is kind of like it's cyclical. Everything is just going to kind of keep regurgitating that kind of story over and over again. You're going to write the review that's bad, people are going to respond to it, you're going to respond to them. It's just like there's a lot to this question. But ultimately, I think at the end of the day, fast forwarding, the end of the day is gaming journalism is dying, if not dead. And in this world where everybody has a voice and everybody can speak and share just like we do, just like this podcast, there's no answer to that question. The question is that just everybody has a voice. So it's a matter of you finding someone that matters, this is largely why in my years at PSVG, I've given up on reviews. I've just completely given up on them. I still read them. I like being informed when I purchase a game. So I read them to learn. I'm there to learn about the game. Does it run well? How does it control? Does it do something I didn't expect? Is there a twist or a surprise? So I like reading reviews. Scoring things, Metacritic, aggregation of score, it's dumb. It doesn't matter at all, because there's so many people with so many opinions. And then there's people that take out their opinions on games by scoring things 0 just to throw the weight off, and like scales and what's a 10 and there is no 10. And it's just dumb. It's just long story. It's dumb. Devin has pulled me to the light. When we first started a blog, I wanted to have reviews and we had a scale and we had numbers, and I thought it was important because people like that. But I've seen the light. It's just not important. It's a dumb thing that people do. I get what they're trying to do. The reviewers would defend it as we need an objective way to compare games against each other. Problem is you can't do that anymore because games are different and they change. That's a thing. Like Anthem's not going to be the same 6 months from now. Like you just can't do it. It's not fair. It doesn't make any sense to do that anymore. It's not 1994 anymore. You're not worried about, well, if I drop $80 on this cart, like, can I play it longer than 8 hours? That's not an issue because you can play every game infinitely now. You just play every game for thousands of hours. Like every game is super big and super huge. Like it's just not a thing anymore. So I feel like it's all archaic and it's just kind of outdated.
Yeah. So like you said too, things are changing obviously in the industry, how things are communicated out with features, how things work, how things are in a game. You can watch any sort of video and kind of determine on your own, or you should at least, if a game looks appealing to you. And then if you're curious about it, like you said, look to a review that might be posted out there. But I subscribe to the Game Informer magazine because I have the Gamer, what is it called? Pro?
Power Up Rewards?
Yeah, Power Up Rewards Pro at GameStop. And I was actually looking through some of those the other day, and I was cleaning up my office, and I can't tell you the last time I actually read one of those magazines. I can't, until the other day was the first time I went to like IGN because I wanted to look and see what the review said about Anthem. But by and large, everything I see is from my people that are kind of in my circle that I follow or that follow me on Twitter or in Facebook groups that I'm in, just so I can kind of see what people are saying and talking about the game. Because that gives me more of the vibe, right? What people are actually feeling like it. So that's when I think about what makes, whose opinion is more valid. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody's opinion is valid because it's their opinion. And when you get to the point where you try to label something as a fact of that this game is quote unquote good or this game is quote unquote bad, right? That's when people come out and try to do those defensive mechanisms or whatever you want to call it. They either pile on to approve because it aligns with what their thought is, or they pile on to combat because they don't agree.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, tying into what makes a fun game, right? What makes a game good? If you're having fun, if you're enjoying the game, the purpose of the game is to escape to whatever world you're in and enjoy yourself for that time. Don't do this meta of I'm going to go fight this review or I'm going to go disagree or launch this campaign against this person because he said something I didn't like. Just enjoy the craft. Enjoy what you like. Praise what you like. If you don't like something, sure, call it out and say, hey, these loading screens on Anthem, they're kind of annoying. Again, I'm not a game developer. I don't know what causes this. I've played other games that don't have loading screens, as you've mentioned. But I'm still having fun. When we're playing that game, we're talking. We're talking during a loading screen. We're talking about something else, right? It's that social interaction that's also happening. So
to piggyback off of that, I think there's something here, and almost to sound hypocritical as I say this, I think there's a large part of it, though, a large part of this, I don't even know what to call it, man. I hate to use the word zeitgeist. I hate that word. I've heard it used so many times, but I don't know a better way to describe what I'm about to say. There's largely a group of people out there that I think they have more fun talking about games, covering games, sharing their opinions on games than they do actually playing games. And we have a podcast. We have to talk about games, but I don't think we've ever gone as far as saying that we like doing this more than playing games. We play a lot of games. But I think there is a group out there. And especially the YouTube monetization and Twitch monetization, there's definitely people out there that are just trying to have things to say that drive people to them. So they say outlandish things, positive and negative, but they're just they say something to be unique. Hey, look at me, look at me, come click over here. And I'm not just saying just clickbait either.
No. Yeah.
But, yeah.
A lot of times too, people make this persona or this character that isn't genuine to how they actually feel. They're just doing it to get those clicks and to get that ad revenue or whatever it is, right?
Yep. And when you compile all of that together, it's very, very difficult to parse the real from the fake, from the positive, like the actual real critical review. Because obviously, there are some professional game writers out there that have the history, that have the legacy, that have done it, and they're very good. But they're just in a sea of people doing it, their own way. And it's how do you choose real from reality? And it's getting increasingly harder not to. And I know personally for me, I've turned a lot of it off in the past year. I've really, really cut down my Twitter follows and my consumption and the list that I look at and YouTube and a lot of that because it's hard to keep up. It's hard to keep up with who do we hate and why and all that mess. It's just a mess. So I just kind of stick to PSVG.
Sounds good to me. Well, that is the crux of the episode this month. Donnie, anything to finish on for the month of February?
Yes. Something big to finish on, Nathan. Xbox Game Pass coming to Nintendo Switch.
I was wondering if you were going to bring this up. So, yes.
I absolutely was going to.
Tell me a little bit about that because I heard about it. I read a little bit about what was happening. But it's still just rumors, nothing official from Xbox or Nintendo.
Ooh. So, yeah, let's talk about this. Okay. I'm very excited. It's hard for me to contain my giddiness when I talk about this. So
Ori on Switch, that's what you want.
That's what I want. So there was a rumor that Scalebound was being revived. And the reason this was a rumor is Game Informer came out and said that they've heard that Nintendo was reviving a dead and publicly canceled IP. And Nintendo just announced a new game with Platinum, and they've got all these other games with Platinum, so a lot of people, that's easy to tie that. Now, multiple sources confirmed. The sources that I follow, most notably Liam Robertson who used to work for Unseen 64, and he has a long track record of knowing internal things with Nintendo. Like, he has sources. It's been true, proven. He's very good. He said that's not the case. It's not the game. So that outside of that, this is where it all kind of originated from. But he then said Xbox and Microsoft are working on very big things I can't tell you about right now. He's like, but it's big. He's like, but this isn't one of them. It's not scalebound. Then Direct Feed Games came out, and they've been right in the past. They were right about the LA Noire port, like months before it was ever announced. They said LA Noire Rockstar was coming to Switch. And they were right about something else. I want to say Animal Crossing or something else big. But they have a little track record. They came out and said, yeah, Microsoft and Xbox are working on big things, and it's Game Pass.
You mean Xbox?
Game Pass. I'm sorry, yeah. Xbox and Nintendo are working on big things. It's Game Pass, and it's Project X Cloud. And they're coming to Switch. So he says that, and then a lot of sites make their posts, right? Everything is regurgitated, so they all post rumor, blah, 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 blah. Now, if you read them, they said the same thing he said. They even cited him. But then certain ones, like Game Informer, posted, we've corroborated this with our own sources. So there's 4 or 5 of the big companies out there that are saying, we've checked into this and we agree. We've heard this. Windows Central, Nathan, said that they've corroborated this story. So if you want to get a little Xbox validity, it's out there. A big French website said that they're doing, like, there's this big Javot, I can't speak French, but a big French gaming website did that. And then there was a listing for Ori and the Blind Forest at a UK wholesaler Nintendo Switch cart. So it's popped into their systems. So this whole rumor is the facts. Let's get to the facts. The facts is that Nintendo and Xbox are working on a partnership to where Microsoft will publish games on Nintendo Switch. Not stream, publish. Mentioning Ori and the Blind Forest, so happy, and Cuphead. Now, this makes sense because Microsoft publishes games on other systems all the time. This is also kind of off the heels of Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. Now, Kevin said that was in the works before. We don't know that. He doesn't know that. Nobody knows that. I don't think anybody knows that. Nobody, like, Hellblade never said it was coming to Nintendo Switch before Microsoft bought them. I would have known that. I think we would have known that eventually. So, like, we've got Hellblade coming. We already have Minecraft. This is also coming off the heels of Xbox very publicly announcing that they are bringing Xbox Live to phones and Nintendo Switch, and they're talking about it at the end of March. They're having a whole GDC conference about how it's going to work and the development kit and everything they're going to do about it. So it's very public, that they're doing this. I think here's the interesting part. This rumor set the internet ablaze. Not that I would ever expect Microsoft nor Xbox to respond to rumor, but when rumor becomes news by way of Game Informer and GameStop and everybody saying, or GameSpot and all these bigger companies saying, hey, yeah, we were hearing this is true, and Windows Central come out, it's true, for this to run wild for 5 days and them not say it's not true, I think speaks something. They're just quiet. Because typically when a rumor becomes really loud, which I think this qualifies as, typically you may hear something, like typically somebody may come out, they'll just they won't confirm or deny, but they'll say, we have no plans to bring Ori and the Blind Forest to any console, not Xbox, and we hope you can play it on a family of, what I'm saying, right? And they're going to come up with that presser, and you play it on PC, play anywhere. Like typically PR does that. They're just silent. They haven't said a word. Like there's nothing said at all.
So do you think come E3 that we see Phil Spencer on the Nintendo Direct,
or
we see,
or Nintendo walks out onto stage?
Yeah, we see Bowser or Miyamoto walk out on the Xbox stage.
It's very possible.
Would you just lose it at that point?
I would. You have no idea how excited I am. I bought a Switch. I bought a Shack Life shirt and a Xbox hoodie, and I so badly just want to wear them together and be on a podcast.
Goes so well together, right?
Yeah, it does. Okay. All right. There's a lot to break down here, and I don't want to spend another hour doing this, but I want to talk about Xbox a lot because I've already kind of talked about Nintendo on this side of the topic, but I'm very excited. This is very much this is like an Apple move. if this is true, this is like Xbox. This is Microsoft. Stop saying Xbox. This is Microsoft doing something that I never expected Microsoft to do. They're acting in like a very new, innovative way. This potentially, you could say this would, if true, this is the start of Xbox going third party. And in a way, being the most powerful third party the world has ever seen, like flipping the industry on its head, acting outside the norm, breaking down barriers, not just exclusives. This is them propagating a service that very well could be the linchpin and future of games. And that's like an Apple thing to do. And I'm using Apple. Like you could even swap that with Google. I'm using Apple because, you know, like the wars that they've had on tech for years, I don't think it's that far-fetched to say that Microsoft was always kind of catching up, right? They haven't really been innovative since like Windows. Windows was innovative. That changed the landscape of technology, right? They've always been behind on phones. They do PCs, right? But like in terms of a product that's like we're going to flip the industry on its head, do something they've never done before, like in the gaming space, it hasn't been since like the Xbox, right? With internet and live. But now they're kind of doing it again with Game Pass. And if Project xCloud is what it wants to be, you could see a third-party Xbox that also provides premium hardware if you want it, but isn't tied to we have to sell 100 million of these to be successful. They ain't got to do that at all. They could sell 10 million Xbox One X times 2s and 100 million, Xbox app subscriptions and 50 million Game Pass subs and 25 million Xbox Lives, and they can make more money than everybody. That's powerful. Mm-hmm. It's very interesting. I really hope it's true because I want to see what that world is. I also think that this is the reason it makes sense is because this is what they have to do. If they want to push the Xbox app as the future of gaming, like this Project xCloud streaming thing, whatever it is, you can't do it on Xbox consoles. It's got to be more than that. You can't do it with just phones because phones already play games. Like I don't think that's new. What you could do is you put it as many places as you want. Now, those reports also said that they want to bring this to PlayStation 4. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Sony's going to play ball with them, at least not yet. But, okay, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let you talk, but I want to say this. If Xbox is not doing well pushing hardware. This generation, this year, even for all the things that are going right, like I just saw MPD for January, like in America, they're being outsold by Switch and PlayStation both, like 3-1. It's not good. Like Switch sold, I think, like 60,000 units like last week. PlayStation like 55 and Xbox like 12. It's not good. But if they put Xbox games and services on those other consoles, that is a Trojan horse to success. Mm-hmm. That makes sense for Xbox. Now, I think they've got to be passing off a buck somehow to Nintendo if this is true. They've got to come in with some sort of amount of money because Nintendo would be losing sales, portions of sales, their cut from any game that's also running on Switch. And there's bound to be some games on Game Pass that are like cross-gen. So I think there's got to be some agreement there, which I don't think is that big of a deal because I think it makes more sense for Microsoft than Nintendo. And there's been a lot of Nintendo fans who are like, why would Nintendo do this? Why would they do this? It's not helping them sell consoles. Well, one, it is because it's getting them services that they can't do on their own. Like everybody knows they don't have the online infrastructure to do this type of stuff, to do it well anyway. So they're not going to be able to do any of that. But it also, I don't think this is as threatening as people are making it sound because Nintendo has the power of IP. And I don't think Nintendo is all that scared from a world where they can't sell stuff with Mario on it. Because I think they've proven that whatever they put on Mario on, a 64, a box that looks like a cube, a Wii U with a tablet controller that doesn't move 10 feet away from the TV, this little tablet, it doesn't matter. Whatever they put Mario and Zelda on sells. So I don't think they're threatened. I wouldn't be. I would put it that way. I don't want to speculate too much, but if I was in Nintendo shoes, I wouldn't be threatened from future sales thinking that Microsoft's going to take me over. If anything, this is it's really a win-win for both. Mm-hmm. And I've even gone as far as thinking maybe if this works out really, really well, maybe they could leverage Xbox's technology to bring Nintendo Switch Online's retro service to other consoles and TVs and phones. That's also very possible because those were old retro games, right? Like, it's not the new stuff. Like, I think Nintendo is a long way away from wanting Mario Odyssey on anything not Nintendo sold. But Super Mario 3, if you get $20 a month or $20 a year from, 30 million people to stream that to a Roku and the Google Cloud and Windows and everything else, there's something there. Like, this is a really good match. Mm-hmm. And by all accounts, this is happening. There's a lot of rumors, and a lot of people are going on record saying that this is coming. And I'm shocked because we're the Game Pass podcast, and I cannot believe that this thing that we love so much is coming to this other thing I love so much. And I'm so excited. And streaming makes all the sense in the world for Switch. All the sense in the world. It can't run Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It can't run Shadow of the Tomb Raider. But man, if you could stream it, I know you've got to have good internet. I get that. I'm not talking about that. There are people out there like Nathan and me that do have good internet, and we could use this. Could you imagine, Nathan, playing Forza on Switch?
Be fun. Take it
That's
to work
insane.
Mm-hmm.
That's so good. That's so good. And you got to think of, like, with Microsoft, they've bought all these studios. Man, if they're truly, I don't want to say getting out of the hardware business, but if they're getting into the gaming business, they just provide like super awesome hardware. They're becoming Steam, like they're becoming Microsoft. Like, this is Microsoft's way of doing. They're propagating Microsoft products. Like, they very well could be 10 years from now. They could be like, hey, our Xbox app has 100 million subscribers. This is what we do. This is the Xbox app, and this is Game Pass, and we have our own original content, just like Netflix, right? Here's our original content game from 343 Studios. Oh, by the way, you want an awesome controller? Here's the Microsoft Elite controller. Works with your Nintendo box, works with your PlayStation box, works with your PC box. You could do that. They could sell. Oh, you wanna bend the K's on your TV? Check out this PC that we sell. It's dedicated to gaming. We call it Xbox 8K or whatever. Like, this makes sense for Microsoft to go in this direction. I think the mind-bendingness of it is that I don't think anybody could imagine Nintendo or PlayStation going in this direction. Mm-hmm. So they're like, wait a minute, they can't do this. But it's like, Microsoft totally can. And with like Amazon and Google getting into the business, right, and they're trying to do streaming and things, it makes Microsoft to beat them to the punch. This makes sense for Microsoft because, yeah, Xbox competes with Nintendo and PlayStation, but Microsoft doesn't. Mm-hmm. Microsoft competes with Google and Amazon and Apple. And this is a way of Microsoft saying, no, we own this space. And anyway, I've talked too long. I'm sorry. I'm excited. There's a lot to break down. There's a lot of things here. What do you think?
I think it'll be interesting. I'm looking for to see what comes of the solution, and if this could mean inroads into the PC for Nintendo as well, like a legal way for them to republish or re-release games that have only been available on ROMs at this point. So that could be another option there. But I think it'll be cool to see what happens in the coming months. We speculated a lot now. You kind of postulated what you would like to see, what you think it could be. But I think it'll be interesting when it actually comes to fruition and what we see happening in the future. But we've been... What?
Ori's coming to Switch.
Ori to Switch.
We've talked about this forever. Ori's coming to Switch, and I think you're gonna feel so much gratification when you hear Nintendo Internet talk about how amazing Ori is, because it is. Ori is amazing. It just needs a group of people to tell the rest of the world how amazing it is.
Mm-hmm. I agree. All right, man. Well, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at PlayNintendo. Find me on Xbox Live at PlayNintendo. Find me on Switch at PlayNintendo. Find me everywhere at PlayNintendo.
And you can find me on Twitter at Voiced by Nathan, on Xbox at Spider Jedi, and I don't know what my Switch stuff is. It's fine. We'll figure that out eventually, I'm sure. But you can follow the show at The Xbox Drive on Twitter, and that'll do it for us this month.
You can follow this show at The Xbox Drive on Twitter?
That's what I said. This show.
I didn't know.
The Xbox Drive.
The Xbox Drive?
The Xbox
I didn't know.
Empire.
Wait a minute. Do we partner? Like, are we like the satellite show? Is like, do we go one week and they go to the other week?
Well, we need something for the weekly folks too, so we tell you to go over on the Xbox Drive. But you can follow this show, at the Xbox Empire. So, Ladies and gentlemen, Imperials, gamers alike, thank you for listening for this month. We will catch you next month. This has been a PSVG production. Any music, sound effects, or the like is owned by their respective copyright holders. No infringement is intended. The views expressed in this production are those of the individual contributor and may not necessarily reflect PSVG. This production may not be repurposed, reused, or redistributed without the express written consent of PSVG. PSVG is powered by patrons at patreon.com/PSVG. Become a patron to get special perks, including access to exclusive content.